Welcome to this program. So this is agenda today we are going to follow. So first we'll have an introduction. I'll introduce what is the session about, like about me and like who I am and all, and then we'll start understanding what is design. Let's start with the fundamentals and what is the basic understanding of design, like what you all know. So it can be interactive session if you guys. Uh, if you have any doubts, ask in between also, or put it in the chat. I'll answer whenever I can. And in between there are some points where it can be an interactive session, so feel free to type in the chat. Be responsible and be just relevant topics alone, don't talk anything else. And so this is the plan for today. So we'll go with what is design, and then what is UI UX design, like what are the different directions in that you can go. And there's a basic major important thing in design called design thinking. So I'll give you an heads up of what is design thinking, how it should be done and all, and then how you can grow as a designer and get a job, then why portfolio is needed and how to create a portfolio. Like I'll be answering, covering the entire uh, stuffs for you to get started. So my goal is to once the session is done, my goal is that so you guys have a basic idea or plan, like how to get started in the UX field. So yeah, so that's about the session. And so first of all, about me. So I'm Kiran. I'm a product designer. So I have experience around 5 years now. So and I'm a self-taught designer actually. So I've not gone through any universities or doing a bigger course. I didn't do anything like that. I whatever I know now, I just learned by myself, like self-taught. So for me, design started, from when MS Paint came to Windows XP from third standard or fourth standard. From that time, I'm related to design. So that's how my journey started, doing random stuffs in Paint, and then PowerPoint, Excel, whatever new technology came, I used to play around with it, and that's how I learned a lot. In around when I was in 11th or 12th, my design my interest towards design became very huge. So I tried multiple stuffs. Like at that time, I used Photoshop, and I used to play around with a lot of softwares and all. And I used to love making short films also. So I did bunch of short films when I was in 12th standard. And then so as usual, so I had my whole plan for design and all, but obviously in India, being India, with a middle class family, and everybody opposed to what is design, creative work and all, right? So even like that, I had some problems and I had to go with engineering and stuff. So I joined as a triple E engineer, and I did engineering for 4 years. But even during that time when I was in college as engineering, I did whatever I can to learn about design. So luckily there was a design team in my college, and I was able to join the team, and I was able to lead the team for 3 years, and we did a lot of work there. So there used to be a orientation program where every year when new folks join, we give them a 2-day orientation program. So I was in charge of that. I was able to create lots of videos and presentations and bunch of stuff, creative ways to give an intro about the college and everything. So I created an entire 3D model of my college also, and we did a walkthrough video. So the bunch of stuff which I kept on learning. So once I finished my college, once I finished my college, I had my mind clear that I have to go design, because engineering is not for me. So as soon as I completed, I applied to a lot of I applied 3 to 4 companies, and luckily I got from all the companies. I attended the interview, and by fortunate I was blessed. I got all the companies, and I choose one company and joined there. It was a very small startup at the time. They were only 5 to 10 members in the company. So it was very startup, very basic. So that's the good thing happened to me. So because it was startup, there's a lot for me to learn from there. So that's how I grew. That's how I started my design journey, and from there, now it's 4 to 5 years now in the design field as a career option. So that's about me. And now recently, for last 4 5 months, I've started being a mentor also. So when I was solo designer, self-taught designer, I had a lot of problems, a lot of stuff to learn. It's very hard being a self-taught designer. So at that time there was no mentorship and all I had. So everything what I learned is by my own. So now in the recent times there are a lot of opportunities for people who are joining now. So there's a mentorship program done by many companies, like, so I thought there is an opportunity for me, to give back to the community or help others, like, because I don't want others to go through what I had. So that's why I started doing mentorship also. So I'm a mentor in ADP list, and I think most of you know what ADP list, and there's another design school also called UMO. So I'm in a mentor from both companies now, and I'm a full-time product designer at ChargeBee. So ChargeBee is also a big company now. So I'm a full-time designer there. Yeah. So that's about me. And so okay, let's dive into the session. And so what is design? Here, like, I'm not asking for a template or a Google definition or all. I'm asking what is design to you. So when you uh, listen to the word design, like what comes to your mind? Can any of you come up and tell what you feel about design? Like what is design to you? You can put in a chat or you can unmute yourself and talk. Anyone wants to talk? Okay, yeah, great, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, good answers, like creativity. Yeah, like, so yeah, so it's everybody has a different opinion about design, right? That's a good thing. And design is everything actually. So it's not just what you see visually, it's what how you experience the thing, how stuffs work. It can be anything. It's not just what you see visually, like not beautiful colors, beautiful text. That is not just the design. Design is everything. So here's an quote from Steve Jobs. So design is a funny word, like, because like people always think design is just how it looks, but of course it's if you dig deeper, it's really how it works. So that's then like a good way of putting design, and that's what we're gonna learn now also. So I'm gonna share three stories, like which shows like how design impacted different stuffs. This is not what we see, but it also how we experience stuff. So, can anyone of you believe that due to a small design error, people died? You will experience, like, because of design, you will not get a proper output or something. Like you didn't get, you order your food, but you didn't get, like, it's a very small stuff. That's what we faced, right? Back in 1970s or 80s, like because of a small design feature, this flight met with an accident. Like 90 people died. I'll tell you why. So every flight has autopilot option, right? So in this flight, what happens, like the pilot, instead of keeping the setting the settings to change this flight angle, he by mistakenly set the mode as speed, vertical speed mode. So which means, like, instead of turning to an angle, it started to descend, and change, and path also didn't went in a wrong path. So the reason why it happened is because the design, the way it was designed, is like, you can see these boxes, right? These were the only box there, and both the vertical speed mode, which is to keep the speed and descent option, and the FPS, like the flight angle mode, both were given in the same box with the same knob. So since he forgot to change the mode from FPA, from VS to FPA, uh, the mode was set wrong, and the flight started to work in that mode, and they didn't realize it until they all died. So that was very bad design feature here. So later on, I think it was changed, but the small stuff, like small knob, small dot difference, they couldn't see. Like, see what happened, like, bunch of people died because of small such feature. So later on it was changed, I guess, and instead of showing like -33, they started showing in 4 digits, which actually which the feet. So 33,000 and all, like, they started showing in more digits, so that's easy to understand. So you can see, like, design, like small design impacts like your day-to-day life, your like, it's not only for digital products. Design applies in like physical products and everything also. This is like another very short story where in the 19th century there was a big hotel, a famous hotel in California, and it was the people who founded the restaurant. Their mindset was to create a restaurant for middle class people or like or normal people, general people. It was not designed for VIPs or luxury people or not. But the cost of food, everything, there was planned only for middle class people. But the mistake what they did is like they built the the design for the hotel in a very luxurious way. They had red carpets everywhere. So all those things made the people think that it is designed for rich people and VIPs, not for us. So because of that, the expected crowd didn't even come, because like everybody thought it's for VIPs, and like they just stopped. They didn't even try the restaurant. But later on, the people realized that, and they changed everything. They took off the red carpets, like reduced the decoration, all this, and then the business started growing. So a small thing like red carpet, like a design, the way it's designed also affects a business. So this story tells about like how designs impact their business also. And this is like this is also a very simple example where MRI scans. We all know what is MRI scan, right? So this machine, like even an adult will be scared to go on it, because to stay there, it will rotate inside. Like everybody will be scared to go there, thinking like they have to worry a lot. So think this for kids, how they will feel. So even adults are scared to do this. Like what happened for the kids? So kids are like even more scared. They obviously jump out from it. Don't want to go on. So what people did is like they found a simple solution to it. So instead of having a machine like that, they started to design it in a such a way like where kids will enjoy this place. So they came up with stories. They made the person who was going to do that. They gave them scripts to talk. They made the kid understand the story and all. They changed the experience totally. So when a kid comes, they say like, you are a astronaut now. You have to go to the space station. You have to save us all, something like that. Which is like now the kid will like enjoy this moment and will jump to this mission. So these kind of small stuffs also impacts gives a bigger impact to us. So these are like examples of design, how design will change your life, or like your entire experience. Yeah. Okay, so we saw what is design. Like just to give you an heads up, like what is design and all, we did that. Like now let's jump to the main topic. Like what is UI UX design? Yeah. UX refers to the term user experience. So what do you experience? So the definition exactly is like the process that a user goes through from start to end while interacting with the product or a service. So for example, like you are on a person, you use a product from starting to end, you finish a task. Right? So from the entire task, what you do, how you experience, like what do you feel when you use that product or service, is what is called user experience. So the term user experience was found by Don Norman. Like he's a very famous person who actually found the term user experience itself. Like when he was working for Apple, he started that. Now we'll see like what is user experience like from his own words. Wait.
And we said the experience
they're doing. And they think the experience is that simple device, the website or the app or who knows what. No, it's everything. It's the way you experience the world. It's the way you experience your life. It's the way you experience the service. Or, yeah, an app or a computer system, but it's a system. It's everything. Got it?
I'm sorry, like I didn't realize that it was muted. So, but anyways, there was subtitles. I guess you guys are able to hear it. I mean, see it. No, so I guess you guys understood what he tried to say. So, user experience is like is everything what you feel, what you go through with a product or any service or anything like that. It's not just limited with the visual experience alone. It's what you feel also. So and the user experience, like it's not like something I found very recent times. It's been popular for a long time. The people use it like in digital products, physical products, and everything. So I'll give an example like how. So take an example. If you go into a restaurant, what do you do? So you go to the restaurant, you take a seat, you see the menu card, you order a food to the waiter, and then the food comes to you, uh, and then you eat your food. The food you might like it, or you might not like it, and then you pay the bill, leave the restaurant. So this is a set of flows that happens when you go to a restaurant, right? So here, what is the experience? This is like you go to a restaurant, you take a seat. So when you go to the restaurant, you see it's fully crowded. There's no place for you to sit. Uh, what will be your experience that time? It'll be bad, right? Like so, you might be hungry, you want to go, you want to have a good meal, but you can't. It's crowded. Like that will give you a bad experience there. And then like you see menu card, if you see the price are too high, you might feel like it's not worth it. Or you order food you order food to the waiter, then food comes, you might enjoy the meal. So each and every step has its own experience, right? So this is what user experience is all about. Similarly, now you can just compare that exact scenario with the digital product now. So all of you know Swiggy, use Swiggy. So the same thing, like whatever you do in a restaurant, you'll do the same thing here, but just the experience is different. And the mode you use is also different. Here you take your phone, open the app, choose a restaurant, see the menu list, and add an item to the cart. You add your address, pay, and wait for the phone. Food gets delivered. So here, what happens like sometimes the restaurant you want to order might not be open. It might be closed, or the delivery guy might delay, or the restaurant might delay to give your food deliver. So everything. So your task is to open the app, order food, and get it delivered. This is your place an order. That is your task as a user. If any of this task gets interrupted, if you don't like it, so that it affects your entire experience. So that is what user experience is all about. So user experience designers think all of this, do some research like how the experience should be handled each and every step. They'll think through it, they'll do a bunch of research, like understand what user needs are, what their goals, everything, and then only they'll come up with this experience flow. Yeah. So generally the basic task like UX designer will go through it, like he has to conduct user research basically. So user research, like they'll talk with people, conduct user interviews, talk to them, understand what is their goals, what is the needs, like what are the pain points, like what is the problem they have while doing a specific task or with a product. And from talking to users, they'll get an idea, like, and then create a user persona. User persona is like, can you guys hear me? Hello? Yeah, okay. I'm getting messages saying I'm not able to hear. Thanks, guys. Yeah. So as I was saying, so create a user persona. So what is persona is like, you create a profile with your target audience, and you write down what are their goals or behaviors, their frustration, like the problems they're facing, and then you create a profile. So the use of this is like whenever you're developing a product, right? You might get stuck. You might miss out the need, and you might divert yourself by mistake and do something else. So for us to keep in mind, like this is our target or audience, this is what we're creating for them, and then you can always use this persona to like stay on the flow, stay on the same exact flow. Yeah. And then once a persona is created, then you can start creating user journey maps, like how the user interacts with the product from starting to ending. So how they start, like if I want to place an food delivery, so what do I do? When I open the app, what do I see? There will be a login page. Maybe I have to log in, I have to create an account to use the app, and then once I come inside the app, I have to see the restaurant listing page and all. I see that I choose a restaurant, I go inside the restaurant, I add an item, and then go to cart, I pay. So each and every step which I do, you can create that as a journey. So from start to end, you'll create a journey, and that's how you design the app also. So once you have a clear idea of like who's their person, who's their like how this journey is going to be about, how is going to interact with the product and all, then you can start with the wireframes. So basically, everyone will start with paper and pencil. That's the most recommended way also. So randomly start sketching, like decide how the wireframe should be, like how the flow should be, where these buttons will be placed, exactly everything. Like you plan out everything, and then you prototype with the basic wireframe which you have created. From that, you will get an idea like if it works properly or not, or you can just iterate it, do some changes like that. So that's what wireframe is all about. And then once the prototype is done, you can test with actual users or within your team also, like to see how this flow works. Is everything fine? Like is there any problem with the flow? And exactly like that. And then and then other task will be for user experience. Like you have to collaborate with stakeholders, UI designers, developers, and actual users also. So these are the like basic tasks that a user designer goes in every day. Yeah. So next, what can we use like UI design? So first we saw what is user experience. Now we'll see what is UI design. So UI is like its name says, user interface design. So it refers to whatever you see, right? So user experience is what you feel and what you experience in a product. UI design is like what you see and what you interact with. So all the buttons, colors, icons. When you click on a button, some small animation or small interaction is happening. Everything is done by UI designers. So the goal of UI designer is to make an app or a website to be visually appealing and easy to navigate also. So that's the main goal of UI design. So this is a small example. So here you can see, right? So uh, it's a bigger analog button. So how it's style designed, this text form, this text style is having an image here, and then like this layout, how these boxes are put in this way, information, like all these buttons here, everything will be designed by the UI designer. So the colors, mainly colors, and you can see this looks like some round kind of button, right? Like so we can use your hand to adjust this like in a circular manner. So all of this will be designed by the UI designer. Yeah. So common tasks for UI designer includes like creating layouts, properly spacing the alignments on the page. Like this is where the button should come. This is where the text or image, like everything. Like the UI designer decides everything and properly arranges in a correct manner. And then choosing color palettes. So you can't just dump like bunch of colors in the entire design. Like it will look ugly, right? So you have to choose a color palette which goes well with each other. And then like the fonts and everything. So after the colors and fonts, there are a lot of other stuffs also, right? Like creating interactive elements. Like so, when you click on a button, nowadays we see, right, when you click on a button, there's a small indication saying that you have clicked the button. So that gives a good feedback to the user saying like, okay, I have clicked the button or not. So creating this interactive elements, the sliders, toggles, like each and everything you see in an app or product is designed by the UI designer. And then like so after creating this kind of buttons and everything, you have to create in full high fidelity design, which is a final design, like how the final end product will look like. So that's the task to a UI designer. You'll complete the entire design, and then once the design is done, they have to prototype to test it, and they have to closely work with developers. So the UI designers like and developers collaboration is very important, because like the design will look most of the time the design will look in a different way and the end product look in a different way. So to avoid this, like there should be like closely talking collaboration should be very good for them, and so that the product is like as designed. So no, there's a lot of argument and lots of talks when you go to online. You see like UI is better, UX is better, UI is different, UX like there's a lot of talks going on. So don't even fall to the trap of UI versus UX. So there's nothing like UI is important, UX is different. There's no such thing. Both is important when it comes to product. So like UX and UI both go hand in hand, because without one, the other can't work. Okay. So for example, if you have an app which looks very beautiful, the navigation, the colors, everything looks beautiful, but it's very slow. You're not able to finish a task. So that's not going to be a successful app, right? Similarly, if the entire thing works properly, it's very fast. You're able to get your task done, but it's very hard for you to navigate. It doesn't look beautiful. Like it looks very clumsy here and there. That time also your experience is not going to be good. So, so make sure both UI and UX both are balanced equally, and like both should be given importance. Okay. And the major difference is like UX actually comes in the beginning stage of the development of the product. So first, what you do is like you understand what is the needs and all, and then you develop the entire process. You create wireframes and like you keep this is what the product should be like, and then UI comes then where it's just adding colors to it. Yeah. So and UX can be applied to any kind of product. It doesn't need to be a app or website. It can be applied to physical product also, a service. For example, I told that restaurant example, right? It can be anything UX experience, but UI is mostly specific to digital products alone. And so if you see this chart right here, so UX, these are main skills for UX, and these are the main skills for UI. And there are still some things which both will do together. So like prototyping, design thinking, collaboration, empathy. So empathy is like the major part. Without empathy, no one can be a designer. So these are the difference, and these are the like similarities within UI and UX. Okay. So like now we know what is UI and UX and all. Now let's talk about like what are the different direction that is available in the UI UX field. So first one is like UI designers. So who creates the entire visual portion of the apps. So that's one role. UX designers like focus generally like experience how the product works and all, what should be in the product and everything. And product designer, someone who actually does both. Okay, so like in India, mostly like we find product designer as the role that mostly offered by many companies. So we don't find UX as a separate and UI separate. It's very rare in our India, but when you see abroad and all, there are people who have companies have separate roles for each and everything. And like it varies to companies. Like I can't say this company does that, this company does that and all. It varies to companies, and if it's a bigger company, there's a lot of designers there. Like in that case, they'll have a specific team just to do the UX research purpose alone, and a separate team just to do the UI. So that's how it entirely works. And UX research is like little different from UX designers. Like they're all same but different. The UX researchers, their goal is just to understand the market, like what is the pain point, what are the user needs. They do the actual research work. UX designers take from that and they will create wireframes and understand what is required for the current market. Like if you have an existing product, what else can be added, what feature can be improved, enhanced, like all those things will be taken care of. So these are the main usual roles. The other roles are like graphic designer, illustrator, which you guys all know, right? So graphic designer, illustrator, they take they handle the most of the marketing sides where they create advertisements, brochures, magazines, everything like that. UX writer is a role. Um, so whatever you see in an app or a website, right? Like whatever text is there, which is related to the product, it will be everything written by UX writers. So if any one of you have an good English proficiency, like you are very expert in writing English and all, or very good in writing, you can try UX writing roles also. So here you will have a combination of user experience and writing job also. So you can combine your skills here. When it comes to interaction design, like this is also very rare in India. You don't find much interaction designs here. You'll find this in bigger companies like Google or Twitter or Instagram and all. So interaction design, what they do is like their role is very small but very efficient. So what they focus on, like small things that user interact with the product. Like if there is a voice control in an app, that will be taken care by interaction designers. If there are if you click on a button, it has some kind of small animation, that will be taken care of the interaction designer. So whatever the user interacts within a product, that will be taken care by them. So and then there's a newer role which actually came up in recent times. It's called design technologist. So what they do is like they bridge a gap between the designers and the developers. So if you are very good at coding and you have interest in UI UX also, then you can try design technologies as a role where you'll be helping designers and the developers also. So in between you can create prototypes which are actual coded. So and or a design, you can create a design system with a coded design system that will be reused by the developers directly. Instead of them creating everything by themselves, they can use your help to create the components or any designs there. So these are like the major different roles that are currently happening here. So whichever suits you best, you can go with it. Okay, so now like design thinking, like it's a very big topic. I'm not going to go with the entire explanation. I'm going to tell you what is design thinking like on the top level, so that you'll understand what it is. Because without design thinking, like no designer can survive. So it's like a major important thing that you should know. So what is design thinking is like, design thinking is a framework. You can say it is a framework or a process, an approach, anything like that is used to solve a critical problem. Okay, so you have a problem. So if you sit, let's solve the problem, you can't think what is the root cause. You won't know what to solve, what is the solution. You can't just simply sit and tell we can do this, you can't do that. So you should understand the problem. You should find the root cause of the problem, and then only you can give a proper solution to it. So that's why design thinking was founded. Like it's been there for a long time. It's not just used for UI UX designers. It's been used by many field of people. You don't necessarily need to be designer to use design thinking. So what is design thinking is like, it's a 5-step process. And keep in mind, it is not a linear process. So once you complete all these 5 steps, it doesn't mean it's ended. You'll always restart it. You'll always jump from one step to another step backwards. You'll keep on doing the step again and again unless you get the required output. Okay, so the first step is always the empathy. So empathy is nothing but seeing the problem from the user point of view. Okay, so here the designer keeps the assumptions like what. So if I'm a designer, I'm gonna work on a problem statement. I have a problem, I'm gonna solve it. So instead of thinking from my point of view, okay, if I give this as a solution, this will work out. Like, instead of thinking from my point of view, I have to think from the user point of view, saying like how this user feels this problem, what he goes through this problem, right? And have to like, so that's why this empathy process happening here. What you do is like, you talk with the users, you perform user research, user interviews, you understand people needs. Okay, like what are the challenges they face, um, what are the pain points, like everything. Just the basic structure, like what's the problem, you find that there you'll have a bunch of problems listed out now. So that's what you do in empathy process. From empathy, then you go to the define step, where as the name says, define, like you have to define the problems here. Okay, so you have a bunch of points here and there saying this is the problem, that is the problem. You can't just keep that also in your mind. You have to write a problem statement from all the things you observe from the empathy state. Okay, so writing a problem statement is like, you'll write the problem statement from the user point of view, saying as a user, I'll give an example for you to easily understand. So a user needs a way to do something in order to accomplish this goal. So you need three things to write a problem statement. One is who is the user, what is his need, and what is his goal. So like what he has to achieve. Okay, so if you're ordering a food delivery, who's the user? A person who's ordering the food, who's an IT employee or someone, some persona there. And what he needs is like he has to order a food. So the goal is like for him to eat the food, right? So that's how you frame the sentence also. There are a lot of multiple ways for you to understand the problem and find the root cause. Okay, so something called 4 W's. It's called like who, what, where, why. So use these 4 terms to understand the problem. So who says like who is impacted by this issue, and like what is the problem, what are the obstacles that are coming here, and where will they be using this product, and why. Like, why it is important, like why users will be benefited from solving this problem. So the like this one way, like, so these are just methods to find a problem and write as a problem statement. So one is 4 W's, and then other method is called 5 Whys, like where you keep on asking why again and again and again, to unless you find the root cause. Okay, so we'll take one example for you to understand. So let's say, okay, let's take this example. So like we are conducting a webinar now, right? So UI/UX course is conducted by some company. Okay, from based on the research, you found that many users didn't register the course. So the first question is why. Now you see, only few people were exposed to the register site, so we didn't have much users. You ask again why. You say like because it didn't reach many people. Many people didn't get to see the ad. You ask again why. Then you may say like the ads were not running for a long time or something like that. You ask why again, because we had a very limited budget, so we couldn't run the ad for a long time. You can ask again why. So then it'll be like the budget was used for some other course last time, so now we are very limited. So like this, like if you keep on asking why again and again and again, you'll get the root cause to the main problem. So this is one way of finding a problem statement. So in this step, what you do is like you find what is the problem and write as a problem, as a statement. And once you understand the problem, the next step is called ideate. So here, like, this is where you come up with solutions. So in the previous two steps, make sure you avoid giving solutions. Like if you start giving solutions, the defined state itself, you will end up with a useless app or a product. So always find what is the problem, understand it, and then come to the ideate state. Here only you have the freedom to give solutions. Okay, here nothing is right or wrong. You can always come up with random solutions. The usually used methods to find the solution is like brainstorming. Like the team can sit together, each can throw some ideas. From that, ideas can be developed. And there's another popular method is called how might be. So you take a bunch of sticky post notes, you write how might be and stick it randomly, and you can start giving a solutions there. So these are methods just to think how a solution can be given, and once you have a bunch of ideas ready, you can discuss together and come up with a proper solution from there. Yeah. So now we have now you know who's the user, you found what is the problem, and you came up with some solutions also. So the next step is prototype. So in prototype, what you do is like you take the proposed solution and you create a basic wireframe or on a prototype product of it, and then see how it looks, how it works and all. So here sometimes the prototype what you've done can be accepted, or it can be redesigned again, or it can be rejected completely. So anything can happen here. So once you come to prototype, it doesn't mean like it is ready, you have to go and develop it, nothing like that. So from prototype, it goes to the test state, where you test the entire product which you have created. You can test it with real users so that you get like genuine feedbacks and all. Once you test it, if you find it is working, if it's a good product, we can go the implement stage, which is the next final stage where you implement it. Or else what you do is like jump, if it failed, like it's not working properly as you expected, then we'll come back to the initial state. You might come back to a prototype or ideate, like you can come to any state which we don't know what will happen. So you'll repeat this step again and again, like you'll iterate it again and again unless you get a final good product. So this is the main overall concept of design thinking. I hope you guys understood. Now I'll share a funny thing which I found recently. It's for design thinking alone. It's just for fun purpose. So you guys can, I guess you guys can relate with the jokes here. So design thinking, what if design thinking would be done from module's point of view? So empathy. So first is the empathy step, right? Like you have to see from that person's point of view to understand what is their problem. I hope you guys understand this joke. So that's empathy. Then define as like writing the problem statement. So here in this joke, Vadivel writes what he needs, like inga nalla meaning like, so he'll write the exact problem statement, some kind of statement, right? So that's how it's related. And then ideate. Brainstorming is like where you as a team you all get together and throw a bunch of ideas, like plan the process entirely. So that's what happens here. So putting all brains together, come up with solutions. Right. So I guess you guys can relate with this scene also, where they all plan together to stop the marriage or something. And then the prototype. So you create a product and you test it. Like, so in the scene, the prototype just burns, right? So that's how so here you create a product, a prototype of product where you can use it for testing. So that's prototype step. Next is the test. So here you can see, like, you use the product which you have created and test with the real users and find if the solution is good or not. So this scene also, I hope you guys can relate with this scene, like. And then the final thing is iterate, which is once you've done all the 5 steps, you might repeat them again and again and again unless you get the final output. So yeah, this joke also, I think you guys can relate. Like every time he asks for that money, they'll go again and again. So that relates to iterate. Yeah. So now you guys have an idea like what is design, what is UI UX design, and what are the different roles you can go. And then like a major concept, like get started design thinking. So you guys have covered that. Now we'll see who can become a designer. Yeah. So the absolute good news, like anyone can become a designer. So you don't have to necessarily have a degree or like have to go to college. Like for like it's not like a doctor or engineer. Like you have to, unless you get the degree, you can't become that. You can't do that role, right? Like it is not in that case for the designer role. Anyone can be a designer here. In my experience, like I've seen a lot of people come from different roles. Like I myself did engineering. Now I'm design field. My same teammates have like many of them are from engineering background, but they all learned by themselves when they come to designer field. So if you have like some few basic skills, if you have that, you can become a designer. Yeah. There are a lot of technical skills like design thinking, like whatever terminology I explained before, you can learn all of that when you're in the process. Like you don't have to know all of them in the beginning stage itself, but these are some few skills that you should have by yourself so that you can start all of this UIX process itself. So the main few skills that are required is empathy. So you should be able to understand other people's problem instead of just defending your designs. You should be able to understand their problem and think from their point of view. So empathy is like a very must needed skill. Okay. And then curiosity and critical thinking. So curiosity, like you should have that eagerness to learn a lot. There will be like this in this career, there'll be a lot of things changing again and again. Like there'll be new business coming here. I mean, coming new tools coming. There's a lot of growth here. So you should have the curiosity to learn things. And critical thinking is like, so at the end of the day, you're creating a product to solve users problem as well as business goals, right? So you should have that balance. So you should have the thinking capacity to solve a problem as well as use it for the business also. And then the main thing is creativity. Obviously, you should be a creative person or to suggest different ideas, different designs, everything like that. And collaboration communication is like a very must role for a designer, because like you can't just sit in the corner and make some designs and just give it to someone. You can't go away like that. Your role is like, you'll be like talking with people every day, almost every day. Okay? Initial stages you'll be talking with the users, customers, like stakeholders to begin with, like to give in what we are going to, what is the plan, what we are going to do this quarter and all. So once you understand that, then only you go talk with the users, and then once you talk with the users, then you collaborate with your team to create a product, and then you talk with developers to get the product out. So from starting to ending, you'll be like talking with a lot of people. So you should have that collaboration mindset and good communication skill also. And then the other important thing is like switching between tasks. So that is like you should be able to do multitask the same day. So one day you'll be like doing research. Next day immediately there will be some kind of a immediate design requirement from previous week's task. So you'll be doing some UI design there. Next in the evening you'll be doing some research again. So there will be a lot of tasks that will be changing in a day-to-day life. So you should be able to handle all of those tasks. So like, these are some basic skill sets that you need before you join, before you even try to UI UX. Yeah. And what else? Other skills like you should have some like interest towards gadgets or technologies, so that whenever new technologies are coming, like you'll be able to implement that within your product. So if you don't understand what is the technology, you won't be able to implement that within an app itself, because our users are very like very matured, and people are like evolving every day. So they will have this knowledge. If you don't implement that knowledge or technology within that product, people are going to skip it. Like they are going to stop using your product and they're going to go to a different competitive product. So you should have all of these skills. Okay. Okay. So if you now choosing like you want to become a UX designer, like so what is the career paths that you haven't like in power? Like what can you do? So I'll give three methods. So one is obviously the self-taught path. So when I started in 2017 or 18, like at that time itself, I had a lot of resources for myself to learn from Medium blogs, YouTube channels, books. Like there's a lot of stuffs I had that time. If you think now, that has grown even more. So there's a lot of stuffs there. If you just type UI UX, you're gonna get tons of information there. Okay, so here you have a lot of resources. You can learn everything. You can learn at your own pace. Like you can learn particular topic today, a particular topic next day. It's all about you, how you feel about it. So there's no restrictions on the projects you take on or not. So once you have learned something, when you're gonna create a project yourself, no one is gonna tell you this is what you have to do. This is the method you have to follow. There's nothing like that. You can do on your own. You can learn on your own. So that's some pros of the self-taught. At the same time, the cons are like you won't have a mentorship, so there'll be no one to guide you like how to do and all. And there's no network opportunities. Like you can't talk with your fellow designers unless you take a step, right? You have to take the step, your own step, to go and talk with others. And then there will be a lot of resources available, but you don't know which is right, which is wrong. You don't know which one to follow. So even having a lot of knowledge also is a problem sometimes, right? You should know to structure it. You should know to use it properly. And then there's no hand-on guidance. Like there's no one proper to teach you this is how things need to be done and all. So there's no one to do that, and there's no lack of structure. So like if I type what is UI UX design, like I open like bunch of 10 tabs. I can open 10 tabs there. So each website, each company gives a different definition or something like that. So all of this structure can help like it, sometimes it can demotivate you. Like I'm like, what am I doing? I'm not sure. I'm not understanding like that. So you might feel that. So these are the pros and cons of a self-taught designer. Uh, Next is boot camps or online courses. So your boot camps, like I think nowadays there are a lot of boot camps that started to do, like in India itself. So what boot camp is like? Boot camp is like immersive training program that will help you to understand real world experience. So here you'll be like for 6 months or 1 year, it's based on the company. So they'll give you a real life experience, like how to solve a problem, how to work on a project, everything. So here you'll be like guided. You'll have a guided structure and a mentor who's always going to help you there. Okay, and you'll have initial network also. Like there will people like you on the same bootcamp, so you'll be able to have some network. You guys can help each other. Like so, you'll have some kind of group of people already in the same field there. And at the end, you'll have a unique portfolio ready at the end of the session, because like the 6 months or 1 month, 1 year course, they'll teach you the entire structure from starting to end, and they'll make sure you create a portfolio at the end of the thing. And few boot camps actually promises to give an job also at the end. So a placement, few boot camps promise placements also. So that's some pros of a boot camp. The cons is like it requires self-discipline. Like you have to keep up with the course load. So if you don't understand something, like you have to make sure you know like understand and go with the flow. So whatever they have the flow, you have to go through it. That's one con. And not all boot camps are same. Like there's a lot of boot camps, we don't know which is good or bad. So you have to make sure you get all the reviews and then apply. And then university programs. So like if you feel like no, I want to take a full-fledged degree in order to start, so that is also possible. uh, but the main problem with university programs is like you won't find exact terminology that you're looking for. It some big universities have the names as human computer integration, like design development. So here you'll have a lot of things to learn also. You won't be focused on a particular topic like UX or UI. But nowadays in India, like a lot of universities starting with UI UX courses, you can still find them. But the problem is like it will take a lot of time to complete, like 1 or 2 years, and then it's more expensive also. If you take a boot camp, you can get it done with 50 to 40,000, 70,000. The self-taught is free. But if you go to universities, it'll definitely cost you like in some lakhs. So that's a problem with university. And generally nobody expects you to have a degree unless it's a very big company or a company that focuses on that. So 95% of the time, no companies says that we need a degree, or else we can't hire you. Nobody's doing like that. So it's not that required also. But just to name few universities that do in India is like National Institute of Design, NIFT, National Institute of Fashion Technology. Most are in like North India. So if you guys are in South India, it's very limited options. Like boot camps, like the easiest option for us. So that's the university program. So like at the end of the day, like so these are three paths. I'm just suggesting, like it is your your thought process. Like whatever you feel is the best way for you, you can go with it. Okay, so some people feel like self-taught is easy for me. So self-taught for myself, like I for me self-taught was the best one. I was able to learn whatever I want. Like every day I learned something new. So for me self-taught was very useful. But for each and every person will differ, right? So whatever feels the right option for you, is go with it. And like if you started being a self-taught designer, it doesn't mean you can't change the path. You can always change your path. Immediately, if you feel you need a boot camp, you can go join a boot camp, or you can take an online course. It's all up to you. Yeah. So now we are like, even if choosing a path, like how to grow as a designer now. So there are a lot of points. So these are just points. I'm gonna put some just points here. Like I'm just structured it group so that you'll understand. So learn and be up to date is like you have to. So you started being a designer. Just if you create a open a Figma tool, just do some random design. It's not going to help you, right? So you have to have some basic understandings, like the fundamentals of UI/UX concepts, theories, design systems. So yeah, so I think still many are there. I guess so, yeah, I think we can start from from where we stopped. So as I was saying, like so how to grow as a designer. So these are some points that you can keep in mind, like how to grow as a designer, like how to improve yourself as a designer. So the main thing is like learn and be up to date. So you should understand the fundamentals of basic UI UX concepts, like theories, design systems like material design and Apple system design. So like these basic UI concepts will help you, to get a job, or like, or in a, you can practically apply all those things when you solve a problem. Yeah. So that's the main thing, and be familiar with the latest UI trends. Like, so like, in this field, like almost every week there's something new is coming up here. So make sure you familiar with the trend, like try out all those new trends are coming in, not only in UI, like UX, like everything. So there are new things being introduced every day. So make sure you all are familiar with it and you try to do it. Okay. And like that's how we can survive uh, in this field, because there are a lot of people coming to UX now. Like, so the more knowledge you have, the more benefits you have. And study the tools for work. So like the main tool you'll be using is Figma or Adobe XD. It's based on the company you work for. Make sure you are very familiar with that product. Okay, so without that, you can't design anything. So make sure you are very good in it, and then get immersed in the world of UX design. Like, so listen to a lot of podcasts, read books, watch a lot of videos, read a bunch of blogs. So there are new things being found every day, and like there are a lot of people, like sharing their experience here and there. So make sure you get immersed in it. Like, so the more it will help you like gain more knowledge. Yeah, and learn new skills and tools every day. As in, like, so Figma is like the main tool that you need. Figma or Adobe XD. Other than that, if you learn other tools like Photoshop, Illustrator, like After Effects, any other tool that will give you an advantage. So so there are tons of people are applying to the same job, right? So there are thousands of people applying to the same job. If you have an extra skill or extra tool that you know to use, you will be unique from the other person, right? So it will help you get a job also. Take a course on design. Like, so if you feel like attending a course will help you to gain more knowledge, please go ahead and take a course. There are a lot of courses nowadays, like starting from beginner level to intermediate advanced level. So there are too much of content available. So you can always take a course. Yeah. And if you are on too much to UI, there is a challenge called daily design challenge. So Adobe XD people, they usually give a challenge out to you, like, so you don't have to sit idle. They'll give you a task. You can randomly sit and design. If you share it, they'll give you feedbacks and all. So there's a big community in Adobe XD. So it will help you to grow in UI design terms a lot. Okay. So these are some things that you can help yourself and learn. And the other stuff you can do is like networking, collaboration. So look for a mentor. Like, there are a lot of people mentoring now. Ask for help. They'll help you, like, to understand how everything's done. They'll help you to go through the same process they followed. And network with other designers. Like, start a community. Like, be in a community with healthy relationship others. Like, help each other. Like, ask doubts, talk, discuss new features that are coming up. Okay, so this will help you like to give get a lot of knowledge, like what other companies are doing, other people are doing, how they do a specific process. So all of these are good knowledge to you. So make sure you do that. And watch, like, see a lot of people, like what work they're doing, and try to get inspired from it and try to replicate it. Like, don't copy it and submit it as your own work, but just try to recreate it. So when you try to recreate a design, like, you'll know how they have done it. So you can always learn from that. And these are like few points that to keep in mind is never become a dribble designer. As in, like, the point I'm trying to say is don't just do designs just to get views on dribble or something like that. Post your works on dribble, nothing wrong in it. But when you do a dribble post, it's just one post, right? So you're just one shot, like, where you can't get the user experience understanding from there. So always post your works there, but don't just spend hours and hours of time to just to do a short dribble shot. Yeah. And start paying attention to design. As in, like, so every day we're using some kind of products, right, in our day-to-day life. So start seeing, like, if there's a button in this place, like, question yourself why this button was placed here, why they didn't keep it somewhere else. So question everything you see in a product or product you use. Okay. By doing this method, you'll understand a few things, like why it was done and all. So that will be very helpful. So when I was a designer, I used to do that. I ask a lot of questions. I ask why it is done like this, why it's not done like that. Like there will be some reasons. So make sure you understand all those things. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. So this is a UI experience is a totally creative process. So unless you try something, you can't learn from it. So think out of the box, do some very weird thing also, like in design terms, like nothing wrong, and learn new tools. So like if you're afraid to make mistake, you can't learn. Learn to take constructive feedback. So don't defend your designs. So every person will have a different perspective. So ask their perspective, try to learn from it, just take their inputs from it, but don't just argue, don't don't take it as like something personal and all. Try to learn from the feedback you get. Sometimes people can be very hard, sometimes people can be wrong also, but don't matter about it. Just learn from that and practice. So practice is like the main thing. So if you don't practice, like whatever you learned, if you don't implement it immediately and if you don't practice it, you will not remember it. So if you're a self-taught designer, practice is your only help that you have. So whatever I learned, I practice again and again. So because of that only, I have some knowledge now. So make sure you practice it. Like if you know something, master it. Okay. And if you know something, try to teach others also. So by teaching, you're not just helping them, but you're helping yourself. So when you teach, you will know more about the product and you'll get more understanding about that. And other things, think like an entrepreneur. So just don't do task because they told you so. Don't do like that. Always think like entrepreneurs. Like take that product as your own product and think from that point of view. So what should you do to improve this product? Okay. So by that, you will learn like how a product can be developed and you can get a successful product at the end. So these are some tips that you can use to grow as a designer. Now so you learned something. Like now we'll see what companies actually expect from designers. So companies expect you to do like good problem solving skills. Yeah, so you need to solve a problem where users also benefited, at the same time business is also benefited. Okay, you have to maintain that balance. If you are creating a product that user benefits but the company is going in a loss, that's not going to work out. At the same time, if the company is getting a lot of profits but the users are not happy with the product, still it's not of use. So make sure you solve a problem that balances both of this. Okay. And design thinking, we went through that entire process, so you should know that. And design skills, so you have to, you should know how to create wireframes, hi-fi designs. You should know how to use the tools and all. And sometimes, like when you join a company, you're expected to do the entire thing. Like you can't say like UX researcher will do the wireframes, I'll just finish the UI. Like you can't say like that. When you're a designer, you have to be a complete designer. You should be part of everything. So that's what product designers do. You own the product, so you have to be a part of everything there. And then good communication. So you should be very communicative. You have to talk with everyone there. So on collaboration, teamwork. I think we covered all of this before also. So these are some mandatory things that a company expects from you as a designer. Design validation is like, so once you've done with the product, you have a design. You can't just say it's done. You have to test it. You have to get some feedback. You have to iterate it, and like you have to keep on improving that product unless you achieve something with it. And receptives to feedback. So like you should be able to get feedback, learn from the feedback, and apply it on the product and improve the product. Yeah. So these are like very simple skills pointed out. So the companies expect this like a lot nowadays, because like even if you don't have an amazing UI skills also, these are the mandatory things that they look in. Even when they interview you, these are things that notice from your work or how the way you talk and all. Okay, so now we'll say like why portfolio is needed and how to create one. Okay, okay, so portfolio is like portfolio is something that's a proof that shows like a sample of work, like whatever you accomplished, everything, right? And it's like the evidence of your skills and abilities, what you can do, what you can achieve. So based on that, only the employers will understand you. Okay. And the portfolio is needed because like it's the best and usually the best way right now, because there are a lot of people are applying to UI UX jobs. Not everyone has their own portfolio. So if you have a portfolio yourself, like that's like unique advantage that you have. Like so because portfolio is like business card for you, like so that's the first thing that see about you and learn about you. Yeah, so make sure you have a portfolio. Yeah, and these are some tips that how to create an effective portfolio. So there are a lot of designers out there, like they ask every day to me like how to create a portfolio and like how to be how the portfolio should be effective. So these are some tips that treat a portfolio like a design project, as in like just don't copy paste like what others are doing, or don't just use the templates that are available also. So you are a designer, right? Like prove that with your own portfolio itself. Do some research, like see what others are doing, like how you can do different from them, what hiring managers are looking for in a portfolio. So do your basic research and then start with the project and create a like good portfolio. And in portfolio, the you should main thing you should have is three case studies. Like you can have more, but minimum required is three case studies. At the same time, don't dump with a lot of work also. Like have 3 to 5, at maximum 5 is enough, not more than that. But minimum 3 should be there. All three case studies, if it has different approaches, different business goals, with different products, it's an advantage, so that they'll understand you have worked in different fields. Like you can, you can work on any new task that you come up with. And always showcase your best works alone. Okay, so you might have done like 5 to 10 works. If you put all that in that, it's not going to be used. So make sure you put only the best 3 works that you have. In that also, keep the first one is your best work. So usually what, whenever you send a portfolio, the person is going to open it, is going to see the first one alone. Very rarely they come to second or third. So the first one should be your best work. So make sure you put that there. And your portfolio, like the way you've done, it should show both your skills and your personality also. Okay. And because some companies won't consider or the candidates without a portfolio. So nowadays portfolio is kind of mandatory. So make sure you have one ready. And the case studies also, right? Like just don't put some image there and say this is the final design, this is what I've done. Like don't put like that. Try to tell a story with the process. Okay, like how you started it. What are the problems that you faced while creating this product? So you should cover everything. So because every designer knows that you can't just create a design in one go. Okay, so there will be a lot of thought process behind it. So what all went wrong, put that also in the portfolio. Portfolios doesn't mean like you have to put the final design, the very good design, nothing like that. uh, Include all the things that went wrong. So you could have done a feature that would have gone terribly wrong. That's well and good, put it there, so that the hiring manager will understand that okay, you have done something, you got feedback from it, and then you changed it. So always put the entire process, tell a story with it. Yeah. Now I'll share some tools to create a portfolio, and I generally advise people to create their own portfolio, like own website, because like that's how you can be, you can show your skills there. So these are some tools that can easily create a website. So WordPress, Wix, Webflow, Square, like these are a bunch of, there are a lot more tools outside, but these are some very well known tools. Few are costly, few are cheaper. Like sometimes you get free options also, and a lot of discounts also. So if you can spend time and money, please go ahead and create your own portfolios. That will really help you. But you are like, no, I'm very beginning stage, I can't spend time and work, spend money there. In that case, then you can use on these online portfolios, like which you all use already, right? So Behance, Triple, UX Folio. So use these existing things and create your portfolio there, and try to be creative there also. Yeah. Now we'll just go some tips to before that also, like there are more few points I want to add for the portfolio part. Let me share my portfolio so that you guys can understand. Okay. So we see, so in a portfolio there are few main things that necessarily should be there. Okay, one is like you should have your about section. Okay, so where you talk about you, so they'll know who you are, what kind of person you are. And the other stuff is like directly should instead of going somewhere, like directly give them your works, so they should be able to see your work instantly, and they see how you have done your work and all. And always make sure you have a contact option, so whenever they see you, see your portfolio, there should be some kind of CTA in that website so that they can reach out to you. So these are like the mandatory things that you have to have in a website: an intersection about you, the works, and your contact, some kind of contact option. Okay, so these are mandatory, but if you have additional things, like if you have some feedbacks about you, people have spoken good about you, like you can put that feedbacks there. Or if you have some, so if you have done some certifications, you have some patents, certifications, awards, like some recognition somewhere, if you have all of that, always put that here so that people get a good understanding about you. Yeah. Okay, so once you're done with the portfolio, also make sure you share it with someone else before you start applying for jobs. Get good feedbacks from mentors or someone in the same field, like share it with them. Ask for their thoughts about your portfolio, get some feedback, and do some changes, and then publish it, and then share it with others. Some we'll see some tips to get a design job. Okay, so as I said, like portfolio is a must, and make sure you create a unique portfolio and resume. Uh, there is don't think like if you create a portfolio, you don't need a resume. Like both are helpful most of the time. People sometimes ask for a resume alone, so make sure you have both, and both are like unique and different, nicely designed. And network with the community. So see, if it, just don't go apply like thousands of jobs in a day and hope that you'll get a job. So don't do like that. Reach out to people, ask for help. Like, so if you like a particular company, go to that company's LinkedIn page, or if you know someone already working in the company, ask them to refer you. So in this way, you have higher chance of getting a job. Okay, and get experience working as an intern. So not generally everyone asks experience in design, but still helps you if you have some experience, like before going to a company. So when you're learning, is when you're in a learning stage itself, apply for internship. There are a lot of chance that you get into it. So apply, like in the intern, like learn as much as you can from the team there, and that will be really helpful for you. Okay. Learn multiple skills and tools. So as I said, like if you have knowledge of multiple skills and tools, you have a higher leverage than getting a job from the next person. So make sure you do that. So always read the job description properly. Don't just see the title UI UX design, let's apply. Don't do like that. Read the job description completely. See if it relates with you, and then apply. Okay. And sometimes they'll mention few specific skills that you might have and not include in portfolio. And then in that case, edit your portfolio, uh, do some changes according to the job description, and then send to that company. Okay. Focus on soft skills, like make sure you have all good skills to like to talk with people and all, and always ask for feedback. So once you have a you've gotten an interview, you're done with the interview, you're getting a job or not, you can see that later. But as soon as you finish the interview, ask them for a feedback. Ask them how did you presented yourself, how was your work, how did you talk with them, like get all your feedbacks how much ever you can, so that it'll help you to apply for a next company. Okay, and always be honest. Like honest is the best policy, like everyone knows that, right? So be honest, like don't say like things that you don't know. If they ask you like you know to use this tool, or you know how to do this method process, anything, whatever they ask, if you know it, please say yes. If you don't know, please say no. Don't say like yes, and then if they ask you that, you'll be stuck. I mean, like if you're honest also, it shows your personality to them, and they understand what type of designer you are. So make sure you do that. Okay, so then like even if now if you've got a job and like it's startup, like you are the only designer there, like what should you do? So being a solo designer in a company is like very tricky. Like I was in my previous company for 4 years, almost 4 years, and I was the only designer there. So it has both good and bad. So I'll share those things with you so that you guys are you know about it. Being a sole designer is a company is definitely not a good. It has a very good opportunity for you to grow. Okay. So how to survive as a designer? Like, so be confident and bold. So when you join, like there'll be people like they not value you or they not listen to what you're saying, and also be confident. Try to show your work. Don't be shy and all. If they've hired you means like you have the knowledge to be there, right? So always have that confidence within yourself and work towards it. Understand company's mission, like so your goal is to work there, not to get a job just to get a job there, right? So understand the company's needs, what are the products they're creating, what is their technology they use, understand entirely about the company and work towards it. Okay, nowadays many startups are there, like they have amazing goals. So when you also join as a beginner there, like you guys you have to like understand the goal so that you all can work together. Okay. Do some compromises, as in like sometimes like you'll not they will not go with the exact design that you have prepared. You might feel this is the right way for the user, but from business point of view they might say no, we can't do this currently. There will be some reasons always. So make sure you always compromise it. Just don't argue and say like no, they don't use my design, let's quit. Don't be like that and all. Always compromise and make sure user gets the needed output also. Okay. And communicate and set expectations. Okay, so if they given a task to you, just do without explaining why we are doing that, or without explaining what is the problem you're solving. If they don't do any of that, but that's a big red flag. So make sure you communicate. Okay, ask them why are you doing this feature, what is the reason for this feature, and so communicate very well. Okay, so make them understand that design is the initial process that should be done. So if you don't do this process correctly, at the end, like time is wasted, money is wasted, everything is wasted. So you can't create a product and then realize and then come back and change. Everything should be done in the design phase itself. So make sure they know that, they understand that, and try to do that. Okay. And get feedback from everyone and learn. So if you're the only designer there, you might not have a senior designer who can help you to suggest you or not. So you have to work with other people there, like program managers, your boss, your developers, whoever there. Talk with them, get feedback from them, understand their perspective. Like all should work as a team in order to get a good product. Yeah. And bring the design impact. So if you talk like, design help, no one is gonna like appreciate you, or no one is gonna believe you. You have to do a design, you have to show them the impact so that they'll understand how much design is important in today's life. Okay, there are companies that values design very much, and there are still few companies that think design is just one of the process where it's just it's used to make things beautiful, that's all. There are people still like that, but that's totally wrong. So you have to be an advocate to design and users, and make sure designs are more important than what they think. Then some tips to become be a good soul designer is start collaboration tools like Zeppelin. So whatever you create, right? Like in the end of the day, the developer has to do design it properly. If he's not understanding what you've done, use tools like Zeppelin, which will give some code snippets, ready-made code snippets that they can reuse, and it has a proper structure of keeping all colors, fonts together and all. So it will help the collaboration between you and a developer will be good. And then always go back and look at current product. So before you design something, make sure you know the existing product already. Don't blindly start design because there's a task. No. So understand what is exactly happening already, and if you do some change, how the product will be impacted with this change. You should know everything. Like as a designer, you are the product owner there, so you should know everything, each and everything there. Okay. And make sure whenever you give your designs, right, make sure the design flow is correct, the products are working correctly. So the design flow mean so if you miss out some kind of step in between, the developer won't know it. So you are the one who's designing, right? So they're just going to follow your designs and create a product. So if you say the flow is not proper, not structured, if the buttons, the product you created is not working, they'll be stuck. They won't know what is exactly happening here, and the product can be very terrible. So make sure you follow all of these things. Have a collaboration talk with them. make sure all are on the same page. Yeah. Pay attention to small states, as in, like, so when you're designer, you're working on a bigger project, there's always chance that you miss out some small things, but they might be very important also. So like even today, like whenever I create something, I'll always follow them. I'll cover all the major parts, but few things will be missed out. Like for example, if you are creating a simple UI component state which says success, failure, or error, some kind of different stages are there. Sometimes we just create one and leave it as it is. We won't show how error state looks, how an conflict state, whatever, some kind of state, how it looks. We forget to do it. So pay attention to all the small stuffs also, and keeps the files managed. So whenever people looking to design, they should understand what is happening. Okay, so keep your files managed, structured properly, and everything, and try to create a component system, design system. So I hope you all know what is component, right? Like if you create a design component, you can reuse it again and again. So create a design system like that so that you'll reuse things again. And the reason to use as a component, because like, so in order to maintain design consistency in the entire product, if one page a text box looks in a one way, and in other page if it looks totally different, your design is totally bad then. So make sure you use components and the entire product looks the same. Yeah. And whatever decisions you are taking as a designer, and like whatever things you use, make sure you document everything, so that in the future when you see back, you'll know why this change has been made or not. So these are some things that you should follow as a designer anywhere you go, not just this whole designer, even in a company or team. You should know all of these things.